Kia ora e te whānau. My name's Hannah. I'm from the New Zealand Institute of Building, bringing you today's episode of Light Lunch. And I'm very honoured to be joined by Daniel and Thomas, who are both the Next Gen Regional Award winners. Very clever guys. I've watched both of their submission videos. So yeah, we're in good hands in terms of our future. I'll hand it over to Daniel to introduce himself.
My apologies.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a young builder from the centre of the North Island in Taupo. Been in the building trade for 4 or 5 years now. Finished my qualification a month ago, and I'm looking forward to the next phase of my career, really.
Awesome. And Thomas.
Yeah, I'm Thomas Steele. I'm a carpenter by trade, originally from the Waikato. Now I'm studying structural engineering at the University of Canterbury. I'm nearly finished in the last 4 weeks, and keen to back into the workforce again in November.
Very exciting. So as people who have joined us before know, we do 3 hard-hitting questions of what's keeping you awake at night in relation to the building industry. And then we get to know a little bit about Daniel and Thomas, what they're reading, what they do in terms of mental health. So yeah, let's kick off with the hard-hitting questions. Daniel, I'll go to you first. What is the first thing that is keeping you up at night?
Mainly it's on the job, where I'm seeing a lot of clients and people running the job kind of finding cheaper ways to get the jobs done, and I wouldn't call them correct ways. They're using lighter materials or knockoffs or kind of incorrect methods, and it's a little bit disturbing because it might be cheaper for them right now, and it might be okay for the next 5 or 10 years, but what happens when the next person buys that house or that store and the problems start coming along?
And do you think that's because they are making cheaper materials look better? Because I've seen a lot into, just if you go to Bunnings looking at taps versus, you can get a $20 tap versus what's in a good store that's got something that is obviously
higher quality,
expensive,
but it works better, it doesn't leak.
Yeah.
And you don't end up with damage to the lining of your house that you don't see for 5 years because it's been slowly leaking away, and all of a sudden your wall needs to be replaced, which means your bathroom needs to be ripped open, which means you've got, $40,000 worth of work to be done because it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I do think that concerns me quite a lot.
I feel like you may have concerned a few viewers as well if they are watching this and have done a reaction recently. But yes, no, very, very good point. And Thomas, we'll go to you for your first one.
So my first one kind of touches on it around cost as well. There's a large number of projects, it's not every project, but there's a large number of them with the tendering process. They're always done with the cheapest design, the cheapest contractor wins the contract, and the cheapest materials are done. And I know this isn't always the case, and I'd hope that the designers is always done with sufficient factors of safety and competent contractors. But I do worry that the economic pressures can inhibit the performance and the resilience of our structures.
Yeah.
Just to save a buck.
Absolutely, and I guess to stand out to win that tender, right? I mean, if you need the work, you might say you could do it for this, but if you can't do it for that, then this is when people go under, and it's such a concern, especially within our industry, isn't it? It's
all really tight margins, and doesn't take much for it to fall over.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that's a concern for a lot of big and small and medium companies right now, keeping head above water. So yeah, very good insight. Back to you, Daniel. What's your second point?
Second point is on kind of how recently we've noticed a lot of the construction companies is claiming liquidation, closing up because it can't handle the current climate in the industry. Like I say, like materials are getting like a higher cost. Thomas has pointed out that you have to be the cheapest like offer to get the job. So that means that you have to kind of have a bigger company with a lot of employees that you can take up slack in the costs that you miss out on and materials. So it's my worry is that the industry is going to get too small and there's going to be so many large companies that we're going to see almost like a monopoly effect where no small businesses can get out and take their own kind of like make their own headway without being in a kind of black market situation where the economy isn't benefiting.
Yeah. And that whole word of mouth, which is a thing within residentials, but I imagine in that commercial space, infrastructure space, that's not how things are done, right?
You need a
formality.
Yeah, you need a good repertoire, but you only get that from getting good jobs, which are only really given to the bigger companies.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's a hard one to know how to solve that, because as you say, the bigger companies can afford sometimes to take those chances.
Buy more materials at a cheaper cost.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, tender rolls, like all of a sudden you start to get a monopoly effect. So instead of starting up your own company, you start doing cash jobs for family and friends. And maybe that self gets a little bit bigger, but you're not paying taxes on that. Or maybe you are, but only at a smaller rate. And so all this money that should have been going to who knows where to help fund, the next project in town for the council or whatever, it's no longer there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more, it's so much now based on cost rather than quality, innovation, the things that we should be focusing on. Yeah, completely agree with that concern. How about you, Thomas?
Yes, so similarly with the economic state and the technical recession where you're teetering on. I know I've spoken to a lot of the other students at university finishing up their degrees and entering the workforce next year is, if things don't go great and, there's a lot of companies going into liquidation and closing down. And even if you're cutting staff, typically it's the last in's the first out.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty general consensus amongst a lot of the fellow engineering students. And I'm sure that crosses other disciplines, so the quantity surveys and project managers is, for the rest of us leading into this industry, will we still have a job in the next coming years? We don't know.
Yeah. And I guess it's that element of you may be able to get a job, but are you confident that who you work for will still be in business down the track as well? Because these are kind of the most important years, right? Where you set yourself up for what is next. Learn the basics of being in a company and applying all the knowledge that you learn at university and that sort of thing. So yeah, if anyone's got any suggestions for these concerns, that's also something we will receive. Back to you, Daniel. What's your third one?
It's kind of industry related, but it's on who I'm going to vote for. Mainly because I don't see any viable option in Parliament currently for someone who A, is actually going to get into government, and B, going to stick to their word for industry kind of boosting schemes. There's no, like, you look at what the current parties that are available are looking at, and it's all kind of superficial issues and fixing policies that have been input in the last 3 years or the last 6 years, like just undoing what's been done rather than fixing and creating solutions for problems that are like staring us directly in the face. You know, it's kind of it's an awkward issue because you've just kind of got to vote for who you like the most
Yeah.
out of people you don't like at all.
Mhm.
It's a tough situation, I think, and like I say with my family and friends, we're now kind of in the boat where everybody is either lied or given like reason to think that they won't hold true to their word in the last year or 2 years now.
Oh, couldn't agree more. And I think if we use this video as a briefing, that there are, you know, some really serious issues for the entire construction industry, and you know, we need that support, we need that backing, and you know, they'll have a hell of a lot of votes if they are able to put out some feelers for some support, especially for the young folk who, you know, even if you were just getting into voting, you know, need to know that your future is looking safe and sound, and that workforce is such a big part of that, you know, decision. So yeah, couldn't agree more. How about you, Thomas? Is yours political?
Not quite political. It's sort of the rapid growth in technology, especially around AI. So, you know, recent years we had ChatGPT and other AI services become more available and really used. This obviously has some great benefits. I know of people using AI to sort through the emails and write draft emails that they just go through and review to get back to clients. So there's a lot of pros to it and speeding up things, but also on the other end, you know, it's quite powerful, can design and do calculations that look right, but technically aren't. So it's a bit worrying that potentially in the future, people trust it too much and don't rely on, say, engineers for the proper decision making and be able to interpret and understand the calculations and analysis behind it. So I think it definitely has its pros, but it has a lot of cons too that has to be equally weighed.
Yeah, and considered, I guess, that yes, it would be a great thing to have, you know, the ease of IT doing some of those basic formations, but yeah, that a human aspect there is also needed to make sure that it is correct. And yeah, because I mean, you can't rely 100% on IT, can you? Otherwise, yeah, and we all still need a job, right? Cool. All right, so that's top three. Thank you guys for your insights. Now we're gonna go to some quick fire questions about you guys. So I'll go back to Daniel. Daniel's at the top of my screen. So what are you reading, listening to, or watching currently?
Currently listening to an audiobook, The Social Animal by David Brooks.
Oh.
It's kind of like it's a science-based fictional tale that follows two people through their life and talks about the neurology and the chemistry behind each and every interaction. It's
God,
just
amazing.
fascinating book.
I bet. How about you, Thomas? Are you reading or listening to anything?
Nothing quite as interesting. I guess I'm finishing off the last season of Peaky Blinders, kind of as a leisure watching, if you will. And then obviously the last 4 weeks of uni, I've got a lot of research and coursework that's taken up a lot of my time for extracurricular reading and yeah.
So you can allow a little bit of time for Peaky Blinders, but the rest is.
Yeah, got to find the balance, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. And Daniel, what is something you do for yourself for your health or well-being?
It's more of a hobby. I do leather work just for a bit of fun. I like to stitch together belts or handbags, or I've got like a goal of creating a really beautiful messenger bag for my laptop.
Oh, well, if you have a website, please let us know. Or if anyone wants to commission a piece, we'll put them in touch with you, Daniel. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Cool. How about you, Thomas?
Yeah, I've got quite a few just activities in the workshop at home that I sort of tinker around with. Funny enough, I do a bit of leather work as well. It's quite interesting. It's quite neat. So yeah, leatherwork, woodworking, 3D printing, then other activities, especially with the weather recently, a few days skiing, so it was good.
Awesome. Oh, that's great, guys. And third question, Daniel, what is your motto that you live by?
It's a bit deep, but it's
Good.
a country song. It's live like you were dying, and I like to think of it like you've got to experience every little moment that you can to the best that you can. So learn as much as you can, or enjoy the company of your friends as much as you can, or try and work well, but always be looking to improve.
I love it. I think it's really great. How about you, Thomas? What's your motto?
Yeah, give it a go and crave discomfort. So pretty similar mentalities, just give everything a crack. I'm a big advocate for DIY, so if you can always try and do it yourself, or at least have some fun doing it, learn some new things, it's always great.
Yeah, getting out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
A hard thing to do, but once you're there, it feels weirdly good, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And then the fourth and final is what is one bit of advice you would give the next generation?
I think it's a tough one because
It's
it's like,
probably a lot.
yeah, and like I'm only 23, so I haven't really
Yeah.
experienced much.
What advice would you give you?
I'd say stick at it, because like a lot of people nowadays are all talking about how you should live your best life and enjoy everything, and like no one's really talking about how you should actually, like, working hard is a beautiful skill, and the ability to like dive into a subject and gain knowledge and then transfer it to other parts of your life is kind of forgotten now. So I'd say, like, if anything, whatever you're doing, you should be proud of the fact that you're doing it and doing it to the best of your abilities. And whenever anyone tells you that maybe you're working too hard, that actually you're doing the right thing, and it's more their issues that can't help them see themselves working that hard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. How about you, Thomas?
Simply say yes. So if you get the opportunity to do anything, learn a new skill, try something new, meet new people, just say yes and do it. The more people you meet, the more insights you get, the more knowledge you can gain. It's makes life more fun, I think.
So true. And as what happened today, we asked you guys to be a part of this. You said yes, and we so appreciate it. Yeah, I've really enjoyed talking with both of you today, and yeah, really excited for both of your futures. And I feel like we're in very good hands in terms of the future of the construction industry. So yeah, no, thank you both for joining us, and for everyone online for joining us for this episode of Light Lunch. Be sure to go on our website. We've got quite a few events coming up, so make sure you register for those. And yeah, until next time, ka kite anō.
Cheers.